Good evening. This is a true scary story about something that happened to my family adjacent last week. So this was last Thursday, and I thought, I don't usually do true creepy stories, but it's 2025, so why not? So I work from home now, and I always ensure my doors are locked during the week. Most of my neighbors are at work during the day. It gives me a sense of security. My office is upstairs and my desk is right by a window, so this gives me plenty of natural light and a good vantage point to keep an eye on things, especially when the Amazon delivery man stops by. For the most part, my neighborhood is quiet and peaceful, but the kids nearby have been off. They were off all last week and the week before for Christmas break. And I live a few houses down from my niece and her kids. I would say probably like one house over, technically. And my mom actually lives next door to me, though that is a horror story for another time. While working in my office last Thursday afternoon, I noticed this young boy, looked about 15. He was walking over to my niece's house, and I didn't think much of it at first, assuming he was just a friend of my niece's kids who were home alone while their parents worked. But then I noticed something weird. He had some strange behavior. He knocked on the door. They must not have answered, so I saw him leaving. And then I saw him approach another porch, and he was just kind of standing there. It didn't really look like he was knocking or ringing a doorbell. And then it looked like someone might have finally come to the door. I don't know, maybe to check and see what he was doing on their porch. Then I saw him again, and he seemed to be moving towards another house, walking up someone else's driveway. And then he was standing on their steps again, and I don't know, he was off to the side, just kind of doing nothing but staring at the door. And that's when I kind of got a weird vibe, like, why is this kid lingering at these people's doors? So I texted my great niece to see if she knew who he was, and she confirmed that she knew, but she also added that when he knocked earlier, they didn't answer. Their parents had told them not to open the door to anyone while they were away, not even friends or, strangers especially. When I described what the boy was doing, my great niece agreed that it sounded odd, but, I kind of just let it go. I didn't think really too much of it after that. He was gone and he wasn't around anymore, and I got busy and kind of forgot. But Saturday afternoon, I was on my way to meet a friend at the movies, and I didn't think anything of it. Saturday, my husband's home. He's getting ready to get out of bed to take the dog for a walk, to take him to the bathroom. And so I just left the door unlocked, just out of habit since he was home. And while I was out, I'm driving to meet my friend. My sister calls me and asks me about the text I had sent her granddaughters 2 days before that. I explained that I had been checking in because I thought that there was this boy in the neighborhood was just acting a little weird, and I was just asking, who is he? Do you know him? Like, what's he doing? Why is he over here? It's kind of weird. He was acting strange. And that's when my sister dropped a bombshell. The boy had actually broken into a neighbor's house the same day that I saw him walking around, and he had stolen a gun. So when he was talking to my niece's neighbor, one of the boys, I guess he had come to the door, and he said he couldn't come out because his mom was in bed sleeping, so he wasn't allowed to leave. And at that time, he had the gun with him. And when he was trying to coax the kid out of the house to come hang out with him, he tried to tell him that my great-nephew was with him, and they were going to be playing basketball. Now, it was -5 degrees outside that day, so I don't know why you would want to be playing basketball outside. I'm not really sure if that was just, his reasoning to try to get the kid to come outside. But the story didn't end there. So I guess he was arrested for breaking and entering, and they let him go home. But then my sister, the reason she was calling me was that the kids had let her know to lock the doors because he had been spotted again on Saturday morning, this time wandering up our neighborhood street again with, once again, a gun. Kind of creepy. And so I called my husband and tried to get a hold of him to lock the doors. And at first I could not get a hold of him. I'm like, hey, I don't think anything's going to happen, but just in case, can you make sure you lock the doors? This is weird. I don't know what's going on. And so my husband did eventually call me back and let me know everything was fine. But I still couldn't shake that feeling, that creepy feeling that you get when something like that happens. I knew there was something off about him. I'm not one of those people that just call the cops or anything. I mean, I didn't see him do anything wrong or illegal. But finding that out afterwards, I said, that's really creepy. So all I know is I'm going to make sure I still keep my doors locked during the day and keep a closer watch on my neighborhood. I feel like the neighborhood watch at this point. I'm not sure of any updates on if the kid was arrested again on Saturday. In a way, it makes me sad thinking of all these young people doing these types of things, and it makes me wonder what kind of sort of home life the kid has. But all in all, that was still really creepy, and because I don't have a new story written, I thought I would tell you my creepy story about what happened to me and my family last week. So make sure if you're home during the day, even at night, everyone always says at night is when you need to keep your doors locked. For me personally, I feel like when you work from home and you're home by yourself, everyone is at work during the day. It's so much creepier to me. So much creepier. Well, on that note, stay safe, and we'll be putting out another video again soon. I just thought I would share this story because it really creeped me out. So on that note, have a wonderful evening.